Welcome back everyone, I hope you are well. We're changing things up a little bit this week, as well as answering some quickfire questions from you guys at the end. I'm going to take you behind the scenes on two of the biggest transfers of the summer, Liverpool's signing of Thiago and Gareth Bale's return to Tottenham. To get those questions in, make sure you've subscribed to The Athletic and leave a comment below my weekly column or via our discussion pages. You can sign up to The Athletic for just £1 or $1 a month right now by going to theathletic.com/Ask Ornstein. You can check out, among other things, Rafa Honigstein's exclusive interview with Chelsea new boy Timo Werner. You can also find that discount link in the description below this video. Okay, let's start by taking you inside the signing of Thiago by Liverpool. And the backdrop to this is that there's been plenty of interest in Thiago from English clubs over the years, and equally plenty of interest on Thiago's part to play for a Premier League club at some point in his career. Manchester United came close in 2013, the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal have considered him at various points. Manchester City were not at the table on this occasion, despite the fact that Pep Guardiola and Thiago have worked closely and successfully together at Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I don't think there was a great appetite for them to do so again now, and that left Liverpool as firm favourites. Bayern Munich knew that Thiago was seeking a fresh challenge because a contract that they had offered him, hoped it would be signed, was ultimately turned down. And from my perspective, I started to hear about this possibility in June, when Liverpool's pursuit of Timo Werner, certainly Jurgen Klopp's pursuit, did not come to fruition. He ended up joining Chelsea, and the name that I was given immediately, not in terms of a like-for-like replacement, but in terms of the player that Jurgen Klopp wanted, was Thiago Alcantara. Then it was a case of whether Liverpool could strike a deal with Bayern. That was a question for FSG, Liverpool's owners, whether they would be prepared to finance it. It was a job for Michael Edwards, the Liverpool sporting director, and Mike Gordon, the go-between between Anfield and America. I think despite lots of talks behind the scenes, lots of claims and counter-claims, reports and counter-reports, it was always moving in the right direction. It was more a matter of when rather than if, and Bayern Munich wanted this sorted before they started their new season. Ultimately, that proved to be the case. Liverpool needed no convincing, but when Jurgen Klopp and his coaching staff were watching the Champions League final over a drink at Liverpool's pre-season training camp in Austria, it underlined the fact that Thiago would be the perfect signing for their team and their club. The Liverpool players were starting to get excited about the idea of this happening, and the deal really came together last week in the early part. Around Monday time, I think there was a breakthrough in talks that had been taking place over the weekend. Liverpool dispatched their club doctor, Jim Moxon, to begin the medical process in Germany, and then it was done for a fee in the region of €30 million. Liverpool will pay around £5 million per year for each of the 4 years of Thiago's contract, plus some performance-related add-ons. So it would appear to be a fantastic transfer from a footballing and a financial perspective. I was told at one point that Thiago and his wife really craved the idea of moving to live and play football in London. But the lure of Liverpool just proved too much. The Premier League champions and recently European champions with their famous history, and this attacking team that under Jurgen Klopp really does seem irrepressible. So it appears to be a match made in heaven, and you can read much more about this deal and how it happened by heading over to The Athletic now. Another incredible transfer over the last week has seen Gareth Bale return to Tottenham. Many of you asking, how on earth has this happened? But I don't actually think it's quite so complex. I'll try and shed a bit of light on it. Bale has had a really unhappy couple of years at Real Madrid on the pitch, falling out of favour with Zinedine Zidane. Their relationship is really beyond repair. And therefore, with Bale barely playing, commanding a huge salary, a parting of the ways was logical. That's why in the summer of 2019, a move to China was proposed, and it was almost done. But Florentino Perez, the Real Madrid president, put a block on it at the last moment. It collapsed, and a lot of bitterness ensued after that. With Bale not particularly keen to entertain other options because he was on a great contract, he had won many trophies, enjoyed a lot of success, having a great life in Madrid, him and his family, his wife and children. We know all about his golf, his children also speak Spanish, so no problems on that front. I may as well stay put. But as time has gone on, I think his stance has softened a little bit, especially with the European Championships in mind next summer. He had made his point to Real Madrid, and now it was time to get back playing football. So then it was about striking a deal, and on this occasion I don't think Florentino Perez had any appetite to put a block on it. He played ball. Daniel Levy was in conversation with him throughout. And crucially, Daniel Levy has a very good relationship, you could also almost say a friendship, with Gareth Bale's agent, Jonathan Barnett. So things were fluid on that front. There was a lot that needed to be ironed out around the finances, the contract, the tax, and much more. But really, I don't think there was any major doubt over this. There were suggestions and reports that Bale was undergoing a medical. I think it was on Thursday daytime in Madrid when I was told he was actually on the golf course, sneaking in one final round before completing this transfer. At that point, a property was being sorted for him to rent in the UK, his family coming over, and that property does have some golf practice facilities, so he'll be happy on that front. But now is the time to get back to doing what he does best, and that's playing football. Jose Mourinho, I don't think, was a key player in this transfer. However, he was open to it, and he has wanted to sign Bale on a number of occasions in the past, and it's managed to materialise. As with Liverpool and Thiago, great excitement in the Tottenham dressing room. Bale does actually have a small injury at the moment that's going to keep him out for a couple of weeks. There were suggestions it could be longer, but I think that might be a bit economical, a bit clever to make sure he doesn't go away on the international break and that he's ready to go with Tottenham after that. Again, you can read more about this in a piece that I've done with Charlie Eccleshare on The Athletic. To your quickfire questions, and Zaki asks, what are the updates on Aouar and Partey to Arsenal, as well as Torreira's departure? Haha, I knew this one was coming, Zaki. I've lost count of the number of messages I've had on Aouar and Partey. I feel more familiar with their names than those of my own children at the moment. But seeing as you asked so nicely, I'll try my best to answer. Aouar and Partey are Arsenal's top two central midfield targets for this window. They are trying. Whether or not they get one or both of them, I don't know. They do have backup options if they don't. And it could come down to who Arsenal are able to shift out of the club to free up squad space, and also the willingness of their owners, KSE, to sanction such investment. Evidence over the last year or so suggests that they will. However, I can't give you a definitive answer. Some I speak to think it's more likely that they end up with one of them, and to that extent, possibly more likely Partey because of the position he plays and Arsenal's need to strengthen in that area, and also he has a release clause that makes it more clear-cut unless Arsenal can negotiate lower or form some sort of swap deals with Atletico Madrid. In addition, Lyon are notoriously hard to deal with, tough negotiators, especially their president Orlas. So that could complicate things around Aouar, whose transfer fee is reportedly higher than the Partey buyout clause. On the flip side to all of that, Edu, Arsenal's technical director, has a very good relationship with his Lyon counterpart Juninho from Brazil, of course. And also, Aouar is represented by the same agency as Mikel Arteta. So it's going to be a fascinating couple of weeks. In terms of Torreira, my colleague James McNicholas reported that talks are taking place with Atletico Madrid about a potential loan, but I don't have any more details on that as things stand. Next up, Pavan. Are Everton likely to do any more business this window? Anything on the Tomori loan? After all the incomings, Pavan, I think outgoings are now more probable. We do know that Everton wanted to sign a top central defender this summer. They were close on Gabriel, who ended up joining Arsenal. And whether that happens now might depend on if they're able to get their top target. I just don't know who that is. We know there were talks over a Tomori loan, but I'm not sure that Frank Lampard was ever overly keen on that. In terms of the Everton interest in Tomori, we're also hearing that that has cooled. JM asks, why have United still not moved to the alternative transfer targets for the right wing position? Do they still believe they can get the Jadon Sancho deal done? Well, we know, JM, that this situation is currently at an impasse. Despite United agreeing personal terms with Sancho, there's still been no progress between the clubs. United, I think, will try until the last minute of the transfer window and hope that something gives, something changes. But I don't think Dortmund will share that view. They're adamant that he's going nowhere. So unless they drop their valuation or Manchester United meet it, then that deal won't happen. But I do think work on those alternative targets has been going on in the background. We've talked about the likes of Gareth Bale, Douglas Costa, Ivan Perisic. I think there's credence in reports over the likes of Ousmane Dembele on loan, some interest in Ansu Fati, although in that case he's got a release clause, it's incredibly high in the current climate, and Barcelona will be in no mood to do business for anything outside the clause for such an important player for the here and now. So United will hope that something can change on Sancho. Otherwise, I do think they'll end up with one of those alternative targets before the window closes. In terms of another position, left back, which we've talked about before, conversations over Alex Telles are progressing between Manchester United and his agent, but the deal has not been done yet. Last but not least, Patanjali. What happens to Reiss Nelson at Arsenal? He has fallen down the pecking order. My information is that Reiss Nelson is now available to leave Arsenal in this current transfer window on a loan basis. I think it's at a very early stage of the process, so I'm not sure conversations are taking place just yet with interested parties, and I'm sure there will be a lot of them. So it's likely that he will go away, get game time, and then hopefully for him and Arsenal come back to the club a better and more experienced player. So yeah, watch this space on a loan move for Reiss Nelson. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel to get the latest from this show, Ask Ornstein, as well as other videos and podcasts from Tifo and The Athletic. Make sure you check out the Ornstein and Chapman podcast too, free to listen wherever you get your podcasts and ad-free when you subscribe to The Athletic.